We will be presenting information on the Pelican Island Bridge elision response today. With us today is Rick Freed, Vice President of Marine Marine, also followed by Captain Keith Donahue, Commander of Coast Guard Sector Houston Galveston, Jeffrey Davis with Texas General Land Office. Mr. Reed is going to be starting us off with an opening statement. The Incident Commander of the Unified Command. Then we will open the floor. He will do a statement as well as Captain and Mr. Davis. After that, we will open it to questions.
Thank you very much. Again, my name is Rick Freed. I'm the Marine Vice President of the Marine Division, responsible party for the barge and towboat involved. At approximately 10 a.m. on Wednesday, the barge MMLP 321 alighted with the Pelican Island Bridge due to a break in the coupling. There were no reports of any injuries or people in the water. There were some reports that talked about people in the water. There were no people in the water. We have since corrected that via the press release. So the elision caused one of the cargo tanks to be compromised and the vacuum gas oil spilled to the water. The amount is still being determined, but the source has been contained. We're approximately on the source of the spill, probably between 1,000 and 2,000 gallons total in the water, but that number could be an estimate right now until we get the barge removed from the pier and actually survey the barge and from the actual bridge. Coast Guard Air Station Houston overflight, as well as and drones have been deployed to evaluate the extent of the oil spill. The damaged bridge is being assessed by the Galveston County Navigational District with the assistance of the Texas Department of Transportation. At approximately 10:30 yesterday, Texas A&M students, faculty, and non-essential personnel were relocated from the island. I'd like to turn it over to Captain Donahue now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Captain Keith Donahue. I'm the Captain of the Port and Sector Commander for Coast Guard Sector Houston Galveston. As mentioned, we have stood up a unified command with the responsible party, the Coast Guard as a federal entity, and in the state, Texas General Land Office. Our initial priorities are protection of personnel and the citizens, protection of the environment, recovery of oil from the water, salvage of the barge, and then restoring the safety of the bridge itself. As it was just mentioned too, we're pretty confident there was much less oil introduced to the water than we initially estimated. We're estimating between 1,000 and 2,000 gallons, but we will not have details on that until we get a final survey from the vessel. We have over 200 people actively working on this response right now. We have skimmers in the water, and we have personnel in the command. We've recovered over 605 gallons of oily water mixture from the environment, as well as an additional 5,640 gallons of oil product from the top of the barge that did not go into the water. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to our state partner.
Thank you, Captain. Good afternoon. My name is Jeffrey Davis. I'm with the Texas General Land Office Oil Spill Prevention and Response Division. We're here to support the Unified Command Our goals and objectives are to get the oil cleaned up as safely and effectively as possible. We've had crews out on the, boats out on the water and personnel last 2 days monitoring the spill and evaluating the impacts of the oil.
We will now open it up to questions. We will try to keep it to one question and one follow-on. We will keep it to 10 minutes. So after that, close to the 10-minute mark, I'll say it's the last question. Please state the news agency that you're with and your name.
KPRC TV, James Perry. The question is, how many people are affected by this event? And talk about the wildlife. How is it affected? How is it impacted?
You want to think wildlife? Yeah, I can address some of the wildlife issues. We have, one of the things that we do in pre-planning is we've pre-identified sensitive sites along the Texas coast. And so those are locations that we go and preemptively boom. So we started booming those sensitive sites yesterday and continued this morning. We have had no reports of wildlife impacted. We do have a oil wildlife reporting line. I can give that to you right now. It is 832-514-9663. If we encourage anyone who sees oil wildlife to report it to that number. We do not want people to go and try to retrieve the critter and take care of it themselves. We want folks to call the number, and we have professionals on standby to go and retrieve the animal and rehabilitate it. We are starting water sampling. We also have a marine mammal survey team out looking for dolphins. There have been dolphins spotted in the area, so they are monitoring and kind of tracking those. But as of right now, we've had no impacts to oil wildlife.
As far as impacts, so we did work throughout the night to have one-way vessel traffic off the island to make sure anybody that was impacted that was on the island can get off. And we've allowed pedestrian traffic at this time. We're coordinating with folks that need to come back and forth, as well as emergency responders if they need to get to the island.
Overall, how many people? That was the question. How many people affected by this?
Oh, if we'll get that question answered to you afterwards.
Thank you.
Scott with Daily News. We heard yesterday that it was because of high tides and high winds that caused the barge to get away from it. But we checked with the National Weather Service and they said that there weren't particularly high winds or high tide. Can you address that?
Weather.
Yeah, I'll take it. There were no high winds, or weather was not a factor at all during the coupling issue.
Can we say what happened?
It's under investigation right now, and I really can't disclose anything further until investigation is thorough.
Next question.
When is the lightering operation going to begin to remove the oil off the barge?
So currently, we're in the process of removing the concrete structure that is on top of the barge, and that will probably commence tomorrow morning. Because what we have to do is lift that up and remove the barge from that area. And then we will assess the barge to see if we can discharge it or lighter it to another barge safely. So that's all, that plan, the salvage plan is underway and being looked at for approval right now.
I'll just add to that too. As I mentioned, our top priority is safety of personnel. We do have weather coming through the night, so we will evaluate the situation as it turns out.
Captain, also, can we ask, as my follow-up here, why it took more than 24 hours before we had something like this? There was a lot of confusion, a lot of mixed messages, different agencies responding. Why it took this long to get a centralized voice coming out on this incident?
I can tell you right now, we have a unified command with a joint information set up, with robust resources on scene, and we're going to make sure you get the information timely and accurate.
But my question was, why it take this long?
I'm Darlene Ferris with Fox 26 Houston. My question is, how long do you anticipate this bridge being out? Is it possible that it will not be reopened, and what's the plan going forward for the campus and the employees and the businesses, getting them back and forth as we progress weeks?
Yeah, as I mentioned, what our priorities are right now. Our priorities are right now, include getting that barge out, include doing the assessment, and then include getting the safety of that bridge assessed, and if we can get back. So that'll come, but right now is getting the barge out of there, taking care of our people, and protecting the environment.
All right, Joey with I-45 now. What's the status of the bridge and what shape is it in currently?
So until we remove the boat, or the barge from the bridge, we cannot do a full safe survey of the bridge. So at this point, we're deemed it's okay for pedestrian traffic at the time, but until we move the barge out of the area, we can't do a full dive assessment.
What was the capacity of that barge, and what was the amount on it?
Yes, the capacity of the barge total is 30,000 barrel barge. We had approximately 23,000 barrels. There's 42 gallons per barrel. For clarification, there were some reports that there was 30,000 gallons. That was untrue. These are segregated barge with several different tanks. And the only tank that was compromised in this situation was a tank that had approximately 160,000 gallons. That was the complete risk in this situation. And the fracture of the top of the barge was by where the concrete hit the barge. It was not the hull or the structure. So that was the minimized impact of the oil leaking out of the barge. It had stopped yesterday afternoon. So that's what we currently have.
And did you already say how many gallons went actually out of the barge?
That's yet to be determined completely.
Last two questions, right here and right here. So you can go first.
John, with the KHOU, did any of the bridge happen to fall into the water? And has it been removed if so?
Again, once we get the barge relocated, we will be doing a full assessment of the area. That area is fairly shallow, but we will be doing assessment before any other vessel traffic goes through there.
When are you expecting?
Hey, sorry, right here. Last question.
Giovanni, Channel 13. Is the barge currently secure? You had mentioned weather moving through. Are there any potential risks of it moving, shifting, bridge collapse?
Yes, we took preventative action due to the weather and shifting of the barge. We have a salvage company that placed a spud barge, a crane barge with spuds that actually go down into the channel. It keeps the barge from moving, and it actually spuds down. And we also have 2 boats in the area watching it so that if there's any potential moving of it, that we have it under control.
Thank you for your time. That is all the questions for right now. The Joint Information Center staff and myself will be available to help you with further needs. You can reach the Joint Information Center at 409-300-3521 or by email at inquiries@pelicanislandbridgealition.com. Thank you for your time, and that's all for today.
Briefing scope,
That's it for right now.